Welcome all. Welcome back to Dominant Mets Nation. Well, folks, the Mets have been on a 2-day rest. We all know the hoopla that happened, the fiasco, MOB, whatever. All the nonsense that has gone on the last couple days does not matter. Tonight is put up or shut up for our New York Mets. Playing the Milwaukee Brewers. Sean Manaea, our ace, going up against Frankie Montas. It is very simple. Quite simple for the New York Mets. Win and you're in. No excuses. We have our so-called destiny in front of us. We control our future. Okay, so today we're going to quickly go over the matchup, the keys for tonight's game. We're going to go over possible playoff scenarios, what gets the New York Mets in. We're going to go over, and this has been a debate going back and forth saying the Braves, we're all so unhealthy versus a completely healthy Mets team, and the Braves won the other day. So everybody's saying Braves unhealthy, Mets fully healthy. That was not the case. I want to show it to you in a few moments that is just not the case. And Kodai Senga coming back, really, he had tricep tightness a few short days ago. Could he be an option in this Milwaukee Brewers or potentially Braves matchup on Monday? We're going to go over that too. But first, before we get started, I need to thank you. We obviously, I love our subscribers. You've been carrying this channel for the longest time. I want to thank our new subscribers. Continue to like. It really helps drive the channel. It helps in a tremendous way. And any new subscribers, whether if you watch the channel or if this is a first time, like, subscribe, stick around. We want you here. And drop a comment too, because our last video, we had a heck of a lot of great commentary, and I cannot thank you enough. I love reading that. I love it. And I got to say, really great comments, amazing comments. I love comments that just make you think. So, okay, great stuff. So let's get into our first topic: Brewers versus Mets. What is tonight's keys? Okay, so we have Frankie Montas going up against Kodai Senga, going up against our ace Sean Manaea. And I got to say this right now, without getting into specifics, Frankie Montas in his overall, not a great season. Not a great season at all. He's 7-11, 4.85 ERA, 142 strikeouts in 146 and 2/3 innings pitched. In his last outing, he pitched against the Arizona D-backs. He threw only 2 2/3 innings. He surrendered 7 earned runs while allowing 6 hits. Okay, so what I got to say, the Mets key, and the Mets over the last 4 games have averaged 2.75 runs per game. So we haven't been hitting that well, but we've had 2 days to rest. We've had a couple days to prepare for this game. We are going up against a starter who has been doing very bad and even worse as of late. So number one key, hit, and hit some more. We have to get the lineup going. We have to hit. So that's what we have to do. And from the pitching side, Sean Manaea has been really pitching well. He's really been pitching well this year. This is going to be his 32nd start. Wow, his 32nd start. It's really been really impressive for Manaea. I really got to say, like, most people did not expect this. I did not expect this. I mean, Sean Manaea has been nothing more than a godsend. He's been really nothing more than a godsend. Today, he is really the guy who gets us going. He needs to jumpstart this whole team, and how he does that is he needs to go deep in this game. We need an ace-like performance. What the Milwaukee Brewers like to do, and you've heard me say this over and over, and of course I'm going to say it because this is such a monumental series. The Brewers game is they like to knock out the starting pitcher. They take the third most walks in all of MLB. Only the Dodgers, only the Yankees draw more walks, and the Milwaukee Brewers batters take many pitchers per plate appearance. They average 4.3 pitchers per plate appearance, so they work the count. So Sean Manaea, he has to work quickly. I would say don't worry about the strikeouts. Pitch to contact tonight. Just contact. Ground ball, ground balls would be great. They're going to try to work Sean Manaea. They're going to try to get into our weakness. Our weakness is the bullpen. We have to keep mind, be cognizant of the fact that we may have to play on Monday. So taxing the bullpen, taxing our pitching staff isn't going to be optimal into making a run in the playoffs. So the longer Manaea can go, the less, he's taxed, the better. And that is reliant on the hitters. It starts with the hitters. It really starts with the hitters. Montez is a good opponent to really tee off of. So that's what it's going to be. Hit. Stay away from our bullpen. Manaea's got to go deep. It's really plain and simple. It is extremely plain and simple tonight. Okay, so let's get into some playoff scenarios. What is going to get our New York Mets in the playoffs, guaranteed playoffs? So we're going to go over that right about now. Now, I'm a believer in our New York Mets being successful and having a deep postseason run, avoiding Monday's doubleheader matchup with the Braves is going to be very, very, very extremely important. How do we do that? How do we avoid that matchup? So let's look up a couple potential scenarios that would basically clinch the Mets postseason berth. So let's look at that the Diamondbacks Mets scenario. We know right now Atlanta is one game behind the Mets, but let's look at the alternate route. Okay, so right now New York holds a 4-3 season edge advantage over the D-backs, meaning they've won 4 games and they've lost 3 games against the D-backs. So we have the season series. So if our records are tied, Mets have that playoff berth. So that being said, scenario number 1, Mets sweep the Brewers and the Diamondbacks win 2 out of 3 against the Padres. Mets are in. Second scenario, Mets win 2 out of 3. Diamondbacks lose 2 out of 3 to the Padres. I'm sorry, to the Padres. So Mets win 2 out of 3 to the Brewers. The Diamondbacks lose 2 out of 3 to the Padres. Mets are in. Last scenario, Mets win 1 out of 3. So we have a horrible weekend. Win 1 out of 3, and that would mean the Diamondbacks would have to be swept by the Padres. Those are 3 scenarios that would clinch a post-season berth for our New York Mets. If none of these outcomes occur, then the Mets obviously will need to wait for Monday's doubleheader in Atlanta for another chance to clinch. Fortunately, there's no scenario in which the Mets can be eliminated before Monday. So that is good stuff. Even if the Brewers sweep them and the Braves sweep the Royals, Atlanta would only be 2 games ahead with 2 ahead games remaining and the tiebreaker still in play. So that would mean we would have to win that doubleheader. So, at the end of the day, I don't think a worst case scenario would happen, but even if that worst case scenario would happen, we've put ourselves in a position to not be eliminated before Monday. I'm trying with all cost to avoid Monday so that we would be better prepared for a postseason run, better prepared pitching-wise mostly for that wild card series. Pitching is what I'm really concerned about. Pitching. I don't want our rotation tax. I don't want our bullpen tax. I mean, you could say that is our weakest point of the team. Now, let's look at something because speaking of the bullpen, I appreciate, Braves fans. Braves fans, I got to say have been pretty good to this channel. I have a healthy respect for the Atlanta Braves organization because, a team that constantly wins, how could you not really respect them? Okay. So, but the conversation came up saying that the Mets lost the other day and that an unhealthy Braves team could really smother a Mets team who's completely healthy. And, the other day I said that's quite not fair. We have Kodai Senga injured. We have Francisco Lindor, Jeff McNeil, Blackburn, Christian Scott was another guy brought up. But, I didn't even name half the guys. I only named 5 guys. In fact, we have 10 very important guys on the injured list. The Braves, in all fairness, have 8 guys. So, I'll tell you right now. So the Braves injured list goes like this. They have 8 guys: Austin Riley, Acuna, of course, Alex Jordan Minter, Ronaldo Lopez, Raymond Kerr, Spencer Strider, Huascar Noah, and Angel Perdomo. So their 3 top guys would be Riley, Acuna, and Strider. So now you go to the Mets list. So the supposed healthy Mets have 10 guys, and that list includes Francisco Lindor, Jeff McNeil, Daniel Nunez, Sean Reed Foley, Drew Smith, Paul Blackburn, Christian Scott, Brooks Raley, Kodai Senga, and Ronnie Mauricio. So we are by far a healthy team. The thing is, you got to give David Stern so much credit, because if you look at this, our whole bullpen is on the injured list, besides Edwin Diaz, Brooks Raley, Drew Smith, Sean Reed Foley, Daniel Nunez. These are all guys that if we had, I would see that, we would have great depth. We would have great depth in that bullpen. And even if we had our starters back, Paul Blackburn, Christian Scott, Kodai Senga, I would feel a whole lot better about the starting rotation. And then our players that were missing: Lindor, Jeff McNeil, even Ronnie Mauricio from the beginning of the season. So we have a heck of a lot of guys on the injured list. So not to say that, I'm saying that anybody is an MVP. I'm not saying, well, obviously Lindor's playing like an MVP. So, I mean, if you want to cancel those 2 guys out, but, I'm not, I don't want to compare. All I'm trying to say is the Mets are damn far from healthy, damn far from a healthy team. So, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. We've done all this winning with everybody being injured, with the bullpen being rebuilt. We just have to continue, stay on track. Okay. So that being said, let's get back to our last piece of news. And this piece of news, really kind of shocked me because, it involves Kodai Senga, and it involves him potentially coming back this weekend. And, from him last week having that tricep injury, it was said Kodai Senga is going to be shut down for the rest of the year. That's it. In fact, I have the title right here. The news article. Every news article said this: Mets Kodai Senga won't return in the regular season as a hard year of injuries hits his latest roadblock. So that was the last bit of news 4 days ago about the update from Kodai Senga. Now we hear rumors. Now this is latest, a couple minutes ago. New York Mets rumor suggests Kodai Senga is in play for massive weekend games versus Brewers and versus Braves. Hmm. Okay. Now we know David Stern said earlier, 2 weeks ago, that if Kodai Senga would make an appearance, that he wouldn't be coming out of the bullpen. Why? Because he's unaccustomed to doing so. So you don't want to expose him to a situation that he's never done before. You want to make him as comfortable as possible. Okay, so what would you do with him? He's not built up. Well, if he pitches, it would be a bullpen game. So if he can only throw 35 to 40 pitches, then you would start him and it would be a bullpen game. And that's what it looks like the rumor may be. Okay, so a new rumor claims the New York Mets could get their ace back just in time for a pivotal set of games that will determine if they reach the 2024 playoffs. This weekend will obviously make or break the Mets' postseason hopes. They enter the series against the Brewers with an 87-70 record and hold a very small 1-game lead over the Braves for the final 2 wild card spots. And, honestly, it's really great that we have 2 teams. It's not only the Braves. obviously we can get in over the D-backs as well. There's 2 spots. So, having 6 spots, 6 playoff spots, even though you have to win close to 90 games, at least we do have that one advantage or edge. Oddly enough, they will face Atlanta in a season finale. We all know that. However, before that, they have the 3-game set with the National League champs. And let's see, here we go. Let's get to the rumors. Okay. While the New York Mets have previously ruled out Senga for the remainder of the regular season, privately they expressed some optimism that he could still factor into this plans this weekend, the outlet reports. Starting off a bullpen game could be the best shot to bring him back into the fold. However, athletic reporters also cautioned another source in the organization, suggesting that still it might be hard for Senga to do so, since he felt discomfort in his tricep after his only rehab appearance in AAA. Kodai Senga has missed most of the season, first because of a shoulder strain. Okay, so I mean, honestly, okay, that it just really seems like an insider from the New York Mets said there may be speculation internally that it may be an option. I think the thing is the Mets optimally would want to clinch things this weekend so that they don't have to exhaust bringing him back. It seems like they were trying to maybe rush Kodai back a little too early. He had the tricep tightness. They're going to give it another shot. If it's contingent on the season, they may be willing to do so. I mean, so the last game of the doubleheader, let's say game 5. You have 3 games in the Milwaukee series, and then you have 2 games on Monday. Game 5, slated right now, is a Tyler McGill pitching. Would you feel more comfortable with a Kodai Senga going out there for a couple games and then, throwing whatever pitcher in there, which best matches up? What would be the I guess David Stearns, what would be the organization's best route? Tyler McGill has been pitching well, but you know what? He's pitching against the Atlanta Braves. This is probably going to be his toughest matchup in the last couple of outings. So I'm pretty sure that's being factored in. Kodai Senga, remember his last outing against the Atlanta Braves, that magical 5-inning in July. He did get hurt, but he pitched in a very dominant fashion. That may be factored in as well. If you can get 3 or 4 very strong innings from Kodai, that might be better than you getting 3 or 4 very weak innings from McGill. Okay, so it is a rumor there. It has been circulated, so I wanted to bounce that off you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about everything. What do we have to do against the Brewers series? Brewers match up. How do we win? How do we come out on top? What do you think about the playoff scenarios? I know I didn't really go over the Atlanta scenario because that's plain and simple. They're 1 game behind us. And for us to get the tiebreaker, we need to win 2 out of 3. So that would mean we have to win 2 out of 3 on Monday, and then we're in. So, I mean, that I guess is our, backup scenario. If we have a crap weekend, which I don't think we will, I think we've had 2 days to prepare. On Tuesday, it didn't look like we were prepared. We've come off a lot of winning. Mentally, we may have been exhausted. Physically, we may have been exhausted coming off of that Philly series. So now we got a chance to rest and recover. It's going to be bang, bang, bang right now. We're going to have to go to 3 different cities, 3 days, and 3 different days. On Sunday, you're going to potentially be in Milwaukee. On Monday, you're going to be potentially back in Atlanta. And then you could be on Tuesday, if you make the playoffs, back in Milwaukee or across the country to San Diego. Or there's some other scenarios. If San Diego spits the bit and Arizona dominates, there is a scenario out there, if we do well and take care of business, that we could potentially have home field advantage and get that number 1 wild card spot. So there are many scenarios out there. I didn't want to throw everything at you. I just wanted to throw the easiest one, the D-back scenario. So we're going to call it a day today. I'm going to go run to work, and then we'll speak to you later on. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dominant Mets Nation, and have yourself a great night. And tonight is a very big game. I'm interested to see how the Mets come out and how they play. They come out with fire. And honestly, I've heard Lindor going to be back. Is he not going to be back? regardless, I will be so disappointed if they don't find a way to cap Acuna in that lineup. I'm telling you this right now. All right. We may be able to overcome it with Frankie Montas because he's not a great pitcher, but I'll just still be so disappointed. All right. Well, thank you again. Have a great day, and I will speak to you soon.